very happy Monday, September 15th to all of you. I am Spencer Linton alongside a man who, wait a second, is actually making some time for Dennis Pitta today. He is Jerem Jordan.
When he does something worth it, yeah. Dennis Pitta wore an elite Joe Flacco shirt to the game between the Browns and the Ravens. Of course, the great Ravens quarterback, Joe Flacco. Dennis was there, his old quarterback. They won a Super Bowl together. Pretty awesome. So Ross Tucker tweeted, Dennis Pitta wins best dressed. So nicely played. There was a big conversation on Mike and Mike on ESPN back in the day about whether Joe Flacco was an elite quarterback or not. You and I in 2015 debated whether Mitch Matthews was an elite receiver. That was our elite conversation. We can't agree this year that the BYU defense is elite. So far, through a few games, BYU is #1 in the country in scoring defense, third downs, first down defense, rush defense, total defense. BYU's defense is elite.
Yeah, but who have they played? I keep hearing that.
It mattereth not.
Who have they played?
But who have they played? We didn't ask you, Utah Utes in Spencer's mentions. We didn't ask you. Go get your own Utah Sports Nation.
BYU's defense will be challenged this week, we believe. On that note, rise and shout. Let's get to what's trending.
Stars always shine.
We really feel good about the talent on our team.
That defense so far has been playing lights out football. Aaron Bachmeier, he's been solid through 2 games. Aaron Bachmeier looks like the future for BYU football.
Game week, bring on the Pirates. BYU headed to the East Coast for an evening kick. Vampire Cougs in play against ECU, so it's Vampires and Pirates.
We've mostly said that for home games, right? It's not really been a thing we've pressed on the road. Just pointing that out.
BYU fans hoping that that's something they can press on the road. Odds makers are saying this game will be a one-score affair. BYU just a 6.5-point favorite against ECU at Dowdy-Ficken Stadium. So, Jerem, why do you believe BYU is only a 6.5-point favorite?
We got to work on this ECU logo, by the way. They got to redo that. Like, it's cool, but it's giving me a little 95 Microsoft Paint kind of Windows vibes. Okay. I like ECU, like fun team to play, fun offense. They're fun to watch. 6.5 is interesting. It's interesting because I don't think BYU's defense is gonna give up a ton of points in this game. I think BYU's defense is really good. It's 6.5 probably because ECU has looked good. 2-1, the one loss, 7-point loss at NC State. Granted, it was 24-7 at the beginning of the fourth. They scored 10 points, made it look closer than it probably was. They've allowed 10 points the last 10 quarters and 3 touchdowns total. So ECU has done a nice job of Campbell gave up 3 points last week, and then Saturday shut down Coastal Carolina. Anytime Coastal Carolina loses and loses big, that's a win for BYU because based on that one game, I feel like Coastal Carolina is in the least favorite 5 teams that BYU could play in the country. You were there, you experienced it. 38-0 for ECU over the weekend. Gross. Meanwhile, BYU hasn't allowed a touchdown. They're slowing teams down to the tune of 106 yards a game and 1.5 points per game. So I feel like BYU is going to win and win big, but I get why 6.5 might be the initial line here. I think BYU will cover. I think they will blow out ECU.
Really?
I really do. I know there's history relative to East Coast games and whatnot.
Define blowout.
17 plus.
Okay, you're going back to it.
BYU is going hard on this one. Let's talk about the Eastern Time Zone games. So, because that is a thing.
It's a huge part of what odds makers look at.
Right, but is BYU a Power 4 team or are they not? Go and beat a G5 team on the road and beat them handily. Okay, so in the Satake era, 2016 to now, 9-7, 6-5 against the G5 teams. Since 2020, better, 5-3. Includes a loss in 2017. In 2017, that was the worst BYU football team in 50 years.
Yep.
That's not a good comp for who this team is and where BYU is as a program. But in 22, BYU was coming off of a nice 21 season. They lost at home on a walk-off field goal. There is some heck to pay back from BYU to ECU. So go beat them and beat them good.
Jaren Hall was injured in 2022, was not playing at 100%. I know ECU came to Provo and won that game. BYU was in a weird 4-game losing streak that included a loss in the Eastern Time Zone against a group of 6 team Liberty. So there is some PTSD there for BYU fans, but you have to consider that when odds makers are establishing their line and what they think is going to provide the proper context and set up an expectation, they're looking at all the things that we have talked about. It was 6-5 in the Satake era against group of 6 teams or group of 5 teams at the time. In the last 10 years it's a weird number in the Eastern time zone. That includes a loss at Toledo. It includes a loss against the bad South Florida team that fired their coach, Charlie Strong, at the end of that season. So there is still some trepidation. Even in year 1 of Power 5 play or Power 4 play for BYU, you go to West Virginia and get throttled. This is a very different BYU team and a very different BYU defense. So I agree with you. You can't compare. This is apples and oranges. It's not a direct correlation because we feel like this is a better BYU team. But I think there is something to East Carolina being better than I thought they were going to be.
Sure.
And BYU still having to make that first road trip. And BYU is starting a true freshman quarterback on the road for the first time. My issue is not going to be with BYU's defense. It is, can the offense generate enough points against the ECU defense that has not given up a ton this season, even against NC State, only surrendered 24. Can BYU's offense score enough on the road with a true freshman quarterback? Feels like the Bronco Mendenhall rule is very squarely in play here. 1st to 24 wins the game.
ECU is better than we thought, but they're not one of the best group of 5, 6 teams to me. Like, they're not in the top 5. Like, they're good, but BYU should go, and they should win this game handily based on the defense. Now, if I think you mentioned it last week, if BYU turns it over a bunch of times and they're -2 in margin and stuff, and they give ECU a chance here, now we're talking about where it could get a little bit weird. Because ECU is actually tied for first in the country with 8 takeaways. So they have done a good job the first
And they
couple of
throw
games.
it all over the field. They're one of the best passing teams in the country through 3 games.
They can't rush worth anything, though. BYU faced a better version of that in the bowl game, Spence, and look what Colorado did against BYU. Nothing. So I welcome that challenge. I think Jay Hill's like, bring it on.
BYU's had 2 weeks to prepare for ECU.
Yeah.
There is value in that, no doubt.
Yes, they practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday was more kind of looking back. Well, Wednesday, Thursday, looking forward. So, yeah, I think BYU is going to go and take care of business. The true freshman thing is real. I've been screaming, hey, don't forget, don't forget. I think it's not going to take as many points as you think to win, but I do think that LJ Martin is the key for BYU. I think that he runs roughshod over ECU, and BYU controls the ball, and if they take care of it, they win handily.
Who wins the line of scrimmage specific with BYU's offensive line and ECU's defensive front? Can BYU establish the ground game? Because if BYU can't, it's going to be a long night in Greenville, North Carolina.
And if he can't against ECU, that concerns me going into Big 12 play. Like, come on.
It feels like there will be adversity for Bear Bachmeier and BYU at some point. 51,000 fans. I think
You're saying in this game?
Yes. I think that stadium's going to be close to full, if not sold out. I think they're excited about this ECU team through the first 3 games. And BYU's a notable program who ECU has weirdly had success against in the recent past.
They lead the series 2-1, just pointing it out.
Weird. They'll show up. What happens
That ain't gonna matter.
if and when there's a turnover and that stadium's rocking? How does a true freshman deal with the nerves of
He
that?
hands off to LJ Martin, who runs for first downs. That's what he does.
Let's hope that BYU can establish that run game, because, again, if they can't, and that now turns to the shoulders of a true freshman, then things can get really weird. It gets really difficult.
You need to be able to run the ball against ECU. Come on.
6.5-point favorite over East Carolina for BYU. Our question of the day is, with that 6.5-point favorite in place, what are your expectations for BYU at ECU? At Mr_Flintstone94 on X answers, at minimum.
In a minute.
Just win, especially with a true freshman's first start on the road. But I think that BYU will win by 2 scores. I'd be pleased if they won by 10 or more. The defense will be the backbone of this win.
I think BYU can minimize what ECU does in the pass game. I think there will be several interceptions for the BYU defense. Yeah, I'm feeling very confident. ECU's better than we thought. It doesn't mean they're going to win the game.
So I like that you're feeling confident. I can't help but think that you felt the same way about Liberty, right? It's like, we're going to go and crush those fools. And then it turned into one of the worst games in recent memory for BYU.
You're forgetting others where BYU won, but yes. Yeah.
Like, the point is,
it's easy to point out when it didn't work once, yeah.
the point is, like, I feel like ECU is of the caliber of like a Liberty team. How does BYU handle it if there is adversity?
Different motivations. Liberty thought of BYU as sort of the gold standard in private Christian football teams. You know, Notre Dame's in a league of their own. BYU. There was like a different motivation. Hugh Freeze is trying to get to the next gig. He did with Auburn and got trunky at the end of that season. Feels a little different in the vibe there. This is not the Super Bowl for ECU per se.
At @bald_man12 on X answers, a better experience than the last time BYU visited them.
That was pathetic.
BYU's defense will continue to shine. Bear will show improvement, but still struggle as a freshman. Again, I think the defense will be there. Can BYU's offense with a true freshman quarterback generate enough points to win this game? And you feel like they're going to do so convincingly.
The defense might generate enough points to win this game, Spence. So, if they have a pick six or a scoop and score, 2 of them, special teams might give you something. Who knows, man?
Do you have a problem with the line? Because I don't. I think it makes complete sense.
No, I don't really care what the line is, honestly. Like, whatever.
Like, based on what ECU has done.
I have no dealings in that space. I don't care.
Based on what ECU has done, I know, but we're talking context. Like, if we're talking straight expectations, do you have any issue with the fact that BYU is only expected by the experts to go and win by 6 points?
No, if I was a betting man, I feel like I would make money on this because I believe BYU will win convincingly.
Okay. Weigh in on X, Facebook, and Instagram to join the conversation.
Don't need that dirty money, Spence.
I didn't say
BYU one spot outside of the AP poll again. We love to put us in the top 25 topic. We've been talking about it quite a bit. We're like anxious to get them in, I guess. Is this finally the week BYU gets into the top 25 if they beat ECU?
This is like the impossible question to answer because what in the world?
Keep asking it.
What in the world is going to happen in front of BYU this week to create some volatility so that there is an open spot for BYU to jump in? Now, I didn't think there was going to be a lot of movement last week. It turned out to be a very volatile week. South Carolina being obliterated at home by Vanderbilt.
Diego Pavia for Heisman.
Somehow Notre Dame is 0-2 and still ranked after losing both the games. I know they played elite competition, but they're still in the top 25. So it all depends on what happens around BYU in between spots 11 and 25. Hopefully there is some more movement there. But first and foremost, BYU hopefully can put their stamp on this game and say, okay, when 2 time zones away, went to the Eastern time zone, exercised some demons against East Carolina. If they win convincingly, then hopefully voters take notice. And
not all voters are, Spence. We learned that last week.
Unfortunately, there are people that aren't watching the games and just like throwing in a ballot.
Give one of us an AP vote. We'll
pay attention. Yeah. We'll watch all the games and pay attention.
We will. We do. We do currently. We don't have to change the workflow.
I hope. Because I would love for BYU to be a ranked team going into conference play when they open up at Colorado. I think that's a fun narrative. And I believe that BYU, after they beat East Carolina, and I believe they will, I just understand why the line is so close because I think East Carolina is a good team, that there's enough there to have BYU be ranked when they go to Boulder and open up Big 12 play.
I am done caring about whether BYU is ranked in September. When it really matters is November or December. We saw BYU get ranked a bunch in independents in September. It didn't matter that much. It's just whatever. I don't think BYU is going to be in the top 25 next week. Here's why. South Carolina's 3 spots out. They'll probably jump in if they beat number 23 Missouri. TCU will probably jump in if they will. If they beat SMU, they're 5 out. Does the Baylor ASU winner jump in at 3-1? ASU's 6 spots out. If Tulane wins at number 13 Ole Miss, they should be ranked in the teens. They'd be 4-0 with 3 Power 4 wins and a top 15 SEC road win. So no. 3-0 BYU probably not getting in. After a 5-0 win at Colorado, that version of BYU should be 4-0, should be ranked. Yes, great. But it's fun, it's great. It really doesn't matter in September. Like, just keep winning, and then in November, when it really matters, be in the mix.
So here's the counterpoint to that. I understand where you're coming from. We were excited about BYU having a head start in the pole position. Like, it's going to help them. It's going to help perception. If BYU's not ranked, then it's kind of a wash with last season. Like, so much for starting ahead of the curve this season that it's not going to matter.
It's more about who you played. BYU hasn't played anybody to merit jumping up super high. UCLA was perceived to be decent. Utah crushed them. Utah flew up. Utah's resume doesn't look crazy better than BYU's, yet they're up there because, well, New Mexico made UCLA look silly. So once BYU starts to play more teams that voters respect, and frankly, that won't be until Colorado, West Virginia, Arizona, and so on and so forth, then BYU will climb. BYU doesn't have the SMU win from last year. They don't have that from early on. Now, Stanford beating Boston College, that certainly helps. It doesn't help a ton, but they don't look as bad. They're bad, but they don't look as bad. If BYU's 6-0 and then they beat Utah, trust me, they'll be plenty high. Don't have to worry about the climb there.
It took BYU 4 weeks to get in the top 25 a season ago. Will it take that many, if not more, this go around? Obviously, we are watching it because we are discussing it.
We're desperate for BYU to get in the top 25 based on that topic and how much it comes up on the show.
I just want BYU to have a fair shake from the eye test of the AP poll and the perception that it creates, because it does create a narrative if you are given that top 25 designation. Unfair or not.
Right. The greatest narrative is winning, though. Just keep winning.